Shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome to my channel. And the reason I wanted to focus on today Caleb is because if you understand the modern meaning of modern Hebrew, that is, meaning of Caleb's name, it's pretty clear that the Gentiles, that is, Goyim, have a serious disdain for Caleb. For some reason, they despise him, and what we need to find out is, why do they hate Caleb? And that's based on the etymology, that is, origin, at least their so-called origin of the name they've given Caleb, in terms of the meaning of his name, who is one of our ancestors from the tribe of Judah. So let's find out why they hate Caleb. So if we go look up Caleb's name in the modern Hebrew, that is, so when we look up Caleb's name, it says Caleb, okay, his name means proper masculine, and it means dog. So it says, just so we know, we're talking about the same, you understand we're talking about the same Caleb. It says, the godly son of Jephunneh and the faithful spy who reported the promised land favorably and urged its capture. So that's how we know this is one and the same Caleb, who they are inferring that his name, that means, the name of Caleb name means dog. So that just clearly doesn't make any sense, because if you understand the story of Caleb in the writings of our ancient writings of our people, Caleb was more of a hero, and here they have a very negative etymology on his name. So we just need to understand, why is that? I mean, even here, they name a place after Caleb, Caleb Ephratah, and it says dog or ash heap. So that's just not good. So we need to understand what's going on, and clearly it just doesn't make any sense. So let's find out why. Why do they hate Caleb? So here's the reason. Well, the story of Caleb goes a little bit like this. There were 12 spies, okay, in the book of Numbers that the Most High had appointed, told Moses to appoint to go into the land of Canaan, and to what the term they used was reconnoiter, that is to check out the land, to explore the land, and then bring back a report to the Israelite community to let them know, about the land, just to confirm that the land was a good land. So to kind of cover that story a little bit, so when the each leader from the 12 tribes, that went into Canaan and spied on the land, and among one of the leaders that represented, because there was one representative from each tribe, Caleb had represented the tribe of Judah, okay, and Caleb was the only one among the leaders, among the 12 spies, that actually had given a favorable report to the Israelites about the land of Canaan, where the other leaders were afraid, members of the tribe were afraid. So they gave just get rid of that. So they gave a very unfavorable report. So let's just cover that passage really quick. So it says, however, this is in the book of Numbers, chapter 13, verse 28 through 33. It says, however, the people who are living in the land are powerful, and the towns are fortified and very large. Besides, we saw descendants of the Anakim there. Okay? And then Caleb, this is verse 30, Caleb, however, quieted the people before Moses and said, we ought to go up and seize the land, for we can certainly prevail over it. So he told the people, hey, we can take this land. We can take these people out. Okay, so Caleb was serious. I mean, he knew that the Most High was with us. He was with our people. Okay, but the other leaders, that went into the land, they were discouraged and they were afraid. Okay, so they didn't trust in the Most High, but Caleb did. So verse 31 goes on to say, but the men who had gone up with him said, we cannot attack these people, they are too strong for us. So they spread discouraging reports among the Israelites about the land they had reconnoitered, and said, the land that we went through and reconnoitered is a land that consumes its inhabitants. Okay, he said, and all the people we saw there are huge. There we saw the Nephiline. The Anakim are the Nephilim. Okay, so the Anakim were the descendants of the Nephilim. And it says, in our own eyes we seem like mere grasshoppers, and so we must have seemed to them. So if you look at the footnotes, well, who were the Nephilim? The Nephilim was also known as, in the Aramaic language, Nephal, which means fallen. So that's why it says in the footnotes, Nephilim, fallen ones. And it's also known in the Greek translation, known as the Septuagint, they were also called giants, a reference to fallen heroes of old. Now it's very interesting that the translators of the scriptures, the writings of our people, they tend to, when they refer to the Nephilim, they tend to call them the fallen heroes, or they call them the heroes of renown. If you read about the Nephilim in the book of Genesis chapter 6, they say they were the heroes of renown, known as the heroes of old. So they tend to call them heroes. They also call them in Greek history titans, and they have all these different names for them throughout history. But they depict them in a very different depiction of these more favorable. That's why they say heroes of renown. But if you read the story in the book of Enoch in chapter 6 about the Nephilim, they were everything but that. I mean, they were devouring the land and the people in the land to such an extent that the human beings at that time, this was before the flood occurred, they were crying out to heaven for help. Okay, because they were being oppressed by the descendants of the fallen angels, known as the Nephilim. Okay, so, but interesting that they have a very different depiction. They tend to call them the heroes of renown, renowned heroes. So why would the translators of the the scriptures in the world today, known as the Christians, and these Freemasons and Jesuits have a very these translators of the writings of our people have a very different depiction of these people, and also to the extent where they've even changed some of the meaning of the names of our people. For example, which is what I've been talking about in the last couple of weeks of some of my lectures, that they have essentially compromised so much of our writings. I mean, even Caleb's name, they have a negative connotation, and they're calling Caleb, essentially, his name means dog. So that's not true. There's no way the Most High, who actually showed favor on Caleb, and I'm going to show you why. There's no way his name would be have a meaning, such a negative meaning or connotation behind it, especially the fact that the Most High had favored him. And he was, by the way, the only one of the leaders, of the tribes that went into reconnoiter and inspect the land that had survived in the wilderness those 40 years. The others were, the Most High had he had wiped them out. And left them there, destroyed them, because they were unfaithful and they did not trust in him when he sent the other members of the tribes, the other leaders, to inspect the land. They didn't trust in him, so they were not. The Most High did not allow them to enter into the land of Canaan. So Caleb was the only leader that had inspected the land among the 12 leaders that were chosen to inspect the land, representing each tribe. He was the only one that survived in the wilderness and actually was given a portion of the land. The rest of them did not make it, okay, because of their lack of faith, because they didn't trust in the Most High, and their lack of faith in the Most High. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the next chapter. So in the book of Joshua, I'm going to read Joshua chapter 14, verse 12 to 15. It says here, again, Caleb was favored by the Most High. He was given a portion of the land. So this is the reason why he is despised in Christianity, and why, and not only Christianity, by the Goyim, the Gentiles, when they translated our writings, why they have such a negative connotation behind his name, and why they hate Caleb, is because the fact that Caleb essentially encouraged the people, and he led the people in the, pretty much in the battle to wipe out the descendants of the Nephilim, known as the Anak. Okay, he destroyed those people. So remember, who is the descendants of the fallen bloodline today? It is the translators, okay, the wicked, the Goyim, the Gentiles among us, that have translated our writings. They are the descendants of the fallen one, the Nephilim, and this is why they hate Caleb, because of the history, okay, in the scriptures and the story behind Caleb, and the fact that he did wipe out some of their ancestors, the Anakim, which were the descendants of the Nephilim. So let's talk about, and again, it talks about it in Joshua chapter 14, verse 12. It says, now Caleb was referring to, when he spoke to Joshua once they arrived in Canaan, he said, now give me this mountain region which the Most High promised me that day, as you yourself heard. True, the Anakim are there with large fortified cities, but if the Most High is with me, I shall be able to dispossess them as the Most High promised. So Joshua, as Joshua, blessed Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and gave him Hebron as his heritage. Therefore Hebron remains the heritage of the Kenizzite Caleb, son of Jephunneh, to the present day, because he was completely loyal to the Most High, the God of Israel. Hebron was formerly called Kiriath Arba, for Arba, the greatest among the Anakim. Okay, so Arba was a descendant, of the Anakim. Okay, and the land had rest from war. Okay, and this is also mentioned in chapter 15 of the book of Joshua. Okay, so it says, as the Most High had commanded, Joshua gave Caleb, son of Jephunneh, a portion among the Udites, namely Kiriath Arba. Arba was the father of Anak. Okay, so Anak again was a descendant of the Nephilim. That is Hebron. He was also called Hebron. And Caleb dispossessed, that is, he drove them off the land. Okay, he dispossessed from there the three Anakim, the descendants of Anak, who were Sheshai, Iman, and Talmai. Okay, so their descendants, he dispossessed the land, and dispossess means to drive out, or another word is deprive, but to deprive someone of property, of land. So he outs them, he drove them off. Okay, from there he marched up against the inhabitants of Debir, which was formerly called Kiriath Sefer. So essentially he drove them off and wiped them out and took over the land, essentially, the land of the Anakim. Okay, so that is why they despise Caleb in the history of our people, the ancient history, and that's why his name has such a negative connotation. No, you and I know his name did not mean dog, but to those people who are of the Nephilim, okay, that is of the fallen angel bloodline, that have translated in their failed attempt to rewrite history, they have made a lot of changes, and among them they even changed some of the meanings of the names of our people. So this is just again a continued be it affirmation of what I've been trying, I've been teaching and showing you proof. Again, it's all in the scriptures, it's all in there. Much of it has been hidden, but we're lifting the veil. So thank you so much for tuning in. And I just want to make one comment before I let you go, is that I've been getting a couple negative comments from one of a so-called Israelite in the community that's been tuning in, basically, I don't know, making comments, accusing, telling me or accusing me of being a white woman. So I'm going to make this clear, and I'm only going to say this once to this person who is sending me these comments on my channel, and I'm going to make this clear. I am not a white woman, okay? I am a brown-skinned woman of color, of Negro ancestry, and yes, I am an Israelite. I don't need to prove anything to you or anybody else. I don't care what you think I sound like. I'm going to tell you right now, I am a woman of color and an Israelite, not a white woman. So if you do not have anything constructive to say, please, I'd rather you not even come into my channel, okay, and leave any comments, okay? I am, hey, if you got anything positive to say, about the subject matter that we're discussing or anything constructive, please feel free to, to leave a comment. But any, I got to tell you straight up, some of our people are about a lot of foolishness, okay? And that's not what this is about. This isn't a game. This isn't about, any of that. So leave the foolishness. Check it out please check it at the door. So that's all I'm going to say on that note. Thank you so much for my other brothers and sisters.